Hi, this is hopefully a short demo where I'm going to demonstrate how we can um, instrument MixPanel and have extremely useful and valuable product analytics in our own products. Stein asked me to record this demo. For the purposes of demonstrating how MixPanel integration and implementation can be done, I've created this simple single-page application that mimics our own, let's say, one.com website, where we have some public pages, and then we have pages that are only accessible to users who authenticated. So imagine like user navigates through these public pages, home, pricing, products. On those pages, they can also interact with some of these widgets that I built. These are demo widgets, but you can get the idea of how we could use this, for example, to analyze if users interact with something like this. And if they do interact, does it influence, is there a correlation between playing with this tier slider and signups, let's say. You'll also notice that every time I do something, there is this toast that is like a little debug window that says that MixPanel event called tier slider moved was fired with certain properties set on those events. So you will see also that every time you change a URL or navigate to another page, we are firing page viewed event with properties set on those. Without further ado, I will demonstrate now what would happen if somebody totally anonymous to one.com visited our pages. Let me see. Okay, so I'll take this. I'll open incognito window, and I will pretend that I'm a new user who just landed with certain UTM tags. Let's call the campaign 100 and UTM source set to Facebook. Okay, so I'm pretending that I'm a user who maybe clicked somewhere in an affiliate campaign or some campaign on Facebook that we set up, and I landed on our homepage. Okay, on that homepage, I scroll, I click some buttons, I navigate to pricing, back to products. On the products page, I request a demo, which fails because I haven't selected any of these. You will note that we are also firing demo request failed as an event. That's a good practice so that we can understand if people have problems with requesting a demo, and then they request a demo. Now I'll sign up. This is the moment where we tell MixPanel, hey, the anonymous user that you've been gathering information up until now is actually our user that in our database we know as, we'll probably use something like admin ID, which is an ID that is shared across all our brands, as far as I'm aware. Let me open MixPanel project that I created for demonstration purposes. By the way, I'll share the project and I'll share the application once I publish it somewhere online. You will see that less than a minute ago, somebody who MixPanel assigned this unique identifier arrived. They viewed the page. Which page? It's a home page. They had these UTMs on the URL. After that, they clicked on a button on the home page. Then they viewed a few more pages, requested a demo, and so on and so forth. Now the magic happens. So there is a profile for this user. If I enter, I'll see everything they did. So page viewed, home, in chronological order. But I don't know anything about them yet. So what would happen if I went here and signed up as this is a user. My naming convention is 12:15. That's actually the time at gmail.com. And I signed up. Okay, now we fired MixPanel identity, which is a special method we're using where we identify the user in MixPanel. From now on, there will be user 1258. So you remember this browser got this device ID assigned to it by MixPanel SDK. MixPanel set this thing into the MixPanel cookie. So every time we fire an event from this browser, from now on, every event will have this by default. Now we identified. So what MixPanel can do now, let me navigate through these private pages. If I go to events and wait for a few seconds, I should see that the user is not anonymous anymore. Now it has been identified. And the magic is that if I enter this, you will see that in the profile, I'll see the moment when they signed up, where we identify them, but also all the previous events are assigned to them. Also, you will notice in the profile now we have all these properties for the user. So they kind of create this profile once the user is identified, and in this profile they retroactively kind of fill in the things such as UTMs. You see that it was Facebook, it was campaign 111. They came directly, not through clicking on some links, but they introduced the link in the URL, where they're coming from, and so on. Okay, so now we know exactly what this user did before they logged in and authenticated, and after. This is really important because MixPanel stitches together everything they did as anonymous users to everything they did after that. I did this flow multiple times using different browsers, using different users. So now this demo account has some events in them. So I can show some analysis that we can do where things get like really interesting. Let's say we are interested in which campaigns are working and bringing customers. I could do that by going to create new insights and say, okay, which event are we going to use as the event? Okay, of course, page view. As they land on our landing pages, we fire a page viewed event. We know that, what is it, in the last 30 days, well, actually today and yesterday and the day before that, today we had 13 users. One thing to notice is that MixPanel will show events almost immediately in real time, but any computation, such as computation for funnel analysis or any other more complex analysis, takes at least 30 minutes. So if you have funnels and you want to test if the funnel is working, funnel analysis will take 30 minutes to be updated with new events. So we said which campaigns are working. Page view, that's the event we're going to take, and we're going to break it down by UTM campaign. We could do the same. We could see which browsers are the most represented, which cities, which operating systems, and so on. Whatever we're trying to do. UTM campaign. Okay, I can see that on May 19th, we had 3 users without campaign set. We had 1 user with the campaign set to demo, and so on. But I'm more interested in a different view, which is everything scrambled together in the last 30 days and as a pie. Okay, we could have done another one. We could have do a bar or columns and so on. But this one I really like because now we can see that the ones that's bringing most customers is the spring launch, and then the next one is users who don't have any UTMs. Okay, after that one we have 111 and so on. Beautiful. So we know exactly how many users we got from spring launch, but we don't know if these are good quality users. What defines them as good quality is if they convert, if they do something that's of business critical event. For that, I'll use funnels report, and I want to know what's the conversion for the funnel of users who fired a page viewed event, which is every user who lands. They do anything in between, and then they sign up. Let's say that's our critical business event that we want to measure. By default, as you switch between these types of analysis, MixPanel will try to keep everything in place, so we get it immediately broken by UTM campaign. Maybe it's going to be easier if I showed you this without breaking down by UTM campaign. We understand that out of 18 users who landed on our website, unique users, 11 signed up. So the conversion is 61%. But if I break it down by UTM campaign, I will notice that my best my best conversion is coming from it's coming from these, but the number of users who did this funnel is so low, so it's really hard to conclude anything out of it. The only one that kind of had enough traffic is this one. So spring launch campaign, 60% of users coming from spring launch campaign converts. That's an amazing number, but again, this is just a demo. Another report that I find really, really, really useful is the flows report, which we can use to kind of reverse engineer where do people, what people do before doing the critical event. How do they do it? How do they arrive to the critical event? So I'll remove these and I'll say I'm interested in the user signed up event. Okay. And I want to know not steps they do after they sign up. I want to know what they did before. So let's go 5 steps before, 4, 5, and 1 after. So what you see here is those who signed up, which is this column. We know that 18% of them did the demo request event just before. We know that another 18% of them played with a slider. We know that 9% of them, well, it's just one user, had they failed to request a demo and then they signed up. And you can work like your way backwards to understand the buckets and how people find this event and how they convert, where they come from. You will also notice that page viewed event has always the same name. We probably want to know which exact page we're talking about, and we can do that by expanding an event by property. So we find that event, it's page viewed, and we select the property by which we want to break it down. You could also do a UTM campaign, but I see no value in that. And now we are zoomed in. We know that all these page views are actually page view of the pricing page, page view of the products page, page view of the products page, and so on. Before I wrap up, I would just like to say that I'm going to share this demo account. I'll also share this app. I'll put it somewhere online so you can play with it, and I'll share the links later. Before I wrap up, I want to show you something, and I think we have this sample data set also in our group 1 MixPanel account. If you enter it, MixPanel gives you kind of a sandbox where you can play and see how they do analysis or suggest we did analysis of our products. We can do e-commerce, finance, data set. I'll use social because I think we all understand social. Okay, so again, they have row events. You see how they name them. It's small caps without underscore, just a scroll feed, typical object plus a verb. We could copy this. See here, sign up, event, and so on. What's interesting is that they have some reports pre-built, and they look really great. So this is a report where you can mix a markdown with widgets, which are your analysis. We saw a similar ones. For example, this is a user flow that we saw. They prepared for the product team. You can see that they're calculating depth of engagement. That's really nice. If this was our KPI, let's say we wanted to have users interact with our applications on a daily basis. I'm not sure if it applies to our business, but in social media, definitely it's very important. How often do they engage? 3 times, 6 times per day, and so on. User retention, incredibly important metric. They broke it down by different cohorts, like all profiles, power users, not power users. You can see that on day 2, when we speak about not power users, 73% of them come back. But when we talk about power users, we see that 97% of power users come back. Of course, building cohorts is more complex and it's much broader. It's too big of a topic for this demo, but you get the gist. This is nice, let's say we have a checkout process, and we want to know conversion rates of that checkout process, like how many people started and how many convert on daily basis. We can see it was 43%, then it fell to 10% by 10%, and so on. Another thing that product analytics help us with is detecting bugs. If we have conversion rates that are stable and then suddenly they drop, it's either the traffic we're bringing is low quality or there is something wrong with our website and so on. So yeah, I invite you to play with the demo data and also with this application once I publish it. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. And yeah, hopefully in a couple of weeks we're gonna be enjoying transparent, reliable data, and hopefully be more data driven.